Let's talk food security now. The latest is that the federal government is coming up with the idea of establishing mechanized commercial farms and livestock operations in university. I believe they want to start with 10. The project is supposed to be handled under the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, that's TED Fund. And during the inauguration, a 5-member committee on agricultural commercial farms evaluation, chairman of TED Fund, and that's Aminu Masari, explained that the beneficiary institutions must meet specific criteria. Sounds interesting. Another interesting move by the government to boost food production in the country. And I think the other part to this is get the youth also involved. But let's speak to the managing director of Banjoko Farms Limited. He's also the chairman, Agri Group of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Tunde Banjoko, right here in the studio. Mr. Banjoko, good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
So you have been meeting with government, and now you want to bring in the universities.
No, I think it's a good thing because I think on your platform some weeks back or months back, I actually raised it. So when I saw it, I probably said maybe they are listening to us.
I hope so. I hope so, because we also spoke to a university professor, University of Agriculture in, I think is in Umuahia and all of that. And they say they have something like this. But, you know, I guess sometimes when we hear the announcement, the excitement just goes up because we've had many beautiful ideas, you know. But how do you see this working? Obviously, it's a good idea.
A good idea.
Commercial farming is what we need.
What we need.
Security is also what we need. Exactly. So how do you see this working, different from former attempts and former announcements?
I think the only thing is we'll pray they go see it through. You know, they've started the process, which is good, commendable. It's a very
especially going through
I mean, seeing it through to execution. You know,
as in going through TED Fund, I think that should give us some
hope. Going by their history, that we see their works in the universities, most times structures in the area of research. Now that the new set of probably board members are looking at, out of their 27 area of operations now, 8 is actually dedicated to agric. That they're going to be focusing on 8 areas out of the 27 that will be focusing on different things in agric. So this is just one of it. So if they can actually see this through, now we are told they are reviewing those that have submitted interest. And the criteria really is not strict. It's not stringent. So a lot of universities should be able to meet up. Now they are saying...
Can you give us some of those criteria?
Just about 2 or 3. One, all you need is just 50 hectares. Very small, 125 acres. That's very small. That's number 1 criteria. Then you must have existing commercial farms operation in your own functional commercial farm running in your university, which some of the universities already have. They have a bit of agri business. And then you must have a value chain in which you're already operating. Because funny enough, when I also saw this, what came to my mind was I was in Abuja some months back, and I was driving in front of the University of Abuja. And I was looking at the expanse of land. And I was saying, this is just wasting away when we could have done something better with it. The same thing, you go to University of Ilorin.
Most of the universities.
You know, you go to University of Banjoko University. So some of the universities, we drive past and you see expanse of land doing nothing. And you know, villagers will encroach, use a part of it, not giving us so much value directly as a nation. So I think the criteria is simple enough. And now they are saying, oh, you also need, so you should be a University of Agriculture, or you must have a robust faculty of agriculture. So, you know, I think the commission also started last year when they gave about 30 universities in Nigeria 1 billion naira each to start something in commercial agriculture. So I think this is just like a follow-up. The federal government did that.
But have we seen the results of that, though?
I have not seen the result, I can claim. But you know, it's a continuous thing. That's what I'm saying. So they gave them 30 billion to say 30 universities, take $1 billion each. Expand your commercial farms. But I think what we need now to find out is, has that money been given to them? That I can't speak about this morning, because I think that happened in December.
Now we are facing our reality, because of course sometimes we do hear these announcements, and even if the money would be given, the amount would be substantially different from what was announced. And so because of those leakages, the regulator in this case does not have the grounds
to hold them responsible.
Exactly. So, I mean, so that's why...
I think those are the areas, because like I was still chatting with some, like earlier this year, we all got excited about the recapitalization of Bank of Agriculture. The vice president said by March and all that. But this is July, and the information I have, to the best of my knowledge, that this morning, it's not been done. So like you said, this is also another very good initiative. What we now need to probably plead with the government is to at least see some of these things through. Enough of this paper, TV, exciting us, we get excited. And also towards this mechanization drive again, last month, sometimes in June, I think 24th or 25th, we signed another one with Brazil government, $1 billion, which is a continuum of the Green Imperative project, to say we are getting tractors, technology from Brazil. But we've been hearing Green Imperative for some time now, and we've not really seen. So I think what we should now be talking about really is execution.
Mr. Banjoko, what should we do about this situation?
We keep talking.
this can really get frustrating. What do we do? I mean, we have great ideas.
Great ideas.
We announce it and celebrate it. We map it out and say, oh yes, we've got the potential. We'll do this and we'll do that. And then after a while, less than a month, it just dies down, and then we're just back to normal.
Because I was also looking at, talking about this for the university, I was also looking at, some weeks back, about 2 weeks back, the president, inaugurated the 2,000 tractors from Belarus. They gave some conditions, very simple conditions, but I'm not sure I've started seeing the impact of those tractors, because we are meant to use it for this wet season. This is July.
It's planting season. Planting season will soon be over.
So that's one of the gaps I've seen with government, because I think sometimes last year too, I got a call from the ministry, but we don't do things at the right time. So now
because we are politicking.
So now the issue, like you said some minutes ago, what's really the issue is we've politicized everything in Nigeria.
I don't know if I've told you, Mr. Banjoko, I've gone to some state ministries of agriculture, and you will see tractors there lying fallow, rusting away, and there are farmers in that state or in those states who are still using hoe. And you just wonder what the
There was a
target
state
is.
in Nigeria that my company wrote, we wrote to them. We observed they had so many abandoned tractors, like you said, and we gave them a proposal to say, let's refurbish these tractors. Then we'll be giving out to your farmers at subsidized rates, because it has to be maintained and cost has to be recovered. We progressed a little in that conversation, but after some time, of course, the Nigerian thing, some people,
not a party man.
I'm not a party man. I don't belong to any party.
You're not a party man, so you can't
walk out.
Also
advise the governor, the speakers to say, no. Sell the tractors, their whole tractors, sell and recover the money. Of course, you know what will happen after selling
themselves will buy it.
The money will go to some. No, they might even sell it, but the proceed from the sale definitely is likely to go to private pockets. And we gave a very robust proposal to say this will reduce cost of operation, food will go down in your state, it will extend to the nation, but the politics, I think that's one main thing, that we've not been able to separate ourselves from governance from politics in Nigeria. Governance and politics have not been separated, because you look at even some offices in Nigeria should not be held by politicians. That's my personal opinion. When you look at some offices that are held by maybe pure technocrats, they seem to get more traction than when they are held by politicians, or when the private sectors are not well informed or involved in the execution. So like this one now, this university idea is a very lovely idea, and is meant to even transform, because they say they are starting with 10 universities. And they also went further to say they are also going to empower 6 more universities to have research and testing. They will have research, and they will have them as for some testing of some of their projects. So if all this is coming on board, but nobody can say, we don't even know when to ask them. I think they gave them 2 weeks to submit their report. So we'll be waiting after 2 weeks to see if there'll be progress, and even no amount was mentioned in this one, like the one of last year, they said 1 billion per university. We don't know how much they are giving to them now. So I think we need, maybe one thing, like you said, we need to start separating politics from governance. It's very important. We have not been doing that in Nigeria. Everything is politicized. Even when you see in some states, you hear this senatorial district, they are giving out equipment. But funny enough, the media always expose them. You see some of them thanking the senators to say, we are card carrying members. So you only give it to card carrying members. And you say you're empowering your senatorial districts with tractors, with equipment, but only party members are benefiting. And what still happened recently in one state, which I, of course, I won't mention, and then the guy that got the tractors didn't know the value, sold it maybe 2 million. So somebody sold it at a ridiculous, all in there was money, but he won it during their rally and all that. So we need to separate politics and governance from it, and we need to also now be more transparent with our requirement and execution, because you look at the 2,000 tractors, for example, 9,000 equipment from Belarus. People are asking, where are the tractors? When are we getting it? You said, you can either buy outright. Where do I pay? How much is it? I'm not sure anybody knows. You said I can lease it. So how do I lease it? For how many years? You said, thirdly, I can set up a tractor site in my local government. What's the procedure? How do I set it up? So we need clarity, and I think we need engagement. Government officials who come out giving this thing need to give more. There needs to be engagement. You see them at times when you even invite them to some public fora.
I've been inviting the Minister
for public
of
fora
Agriculture forever.
to explain more, just to explain more, clarify, so that we are not doubting.
Maybe
We are all
there's
Nigerians.
No sincerity of purpose.
We are all Nigerians, really. Some of us don't even have 2 passports. We only have 1. So we are more passionate, very concerned, but we need clarity. But the president said something in Brazil. I think that was when they were inaugurating the tractors. He said he wants to make agriculture attractive and sexy. Now that's a very good word. You want the youth to be interested, but there needs to be clarity. We need to engage more. And we need to know, what do we need to do? How do we go about this thing? That's when people can, because now this is July. Like you called me, I was on the farm. Most people are almost done with planting. Most people will be, because you want to get the benefit of the rain. So if I don't get those equipment when I need them, if you give it to me by November, December, I'll probably keep it for next year. But maybe some late planting season, but it won't be as useful. And the impact ought to be felt from this year, especially considering what insecurity has been doing to us in some part of the country. We should look at what the flood has been doing. Niger State that has been doing fantastically well. Look at what flood is doing. So now with all those, we should have been paying more attention to know that to reduce the effect of this insecurity, the flood we are witnessing, we need to prioritize those areas that are already operating to give us more. So at least look at the numbers. They keep going up. For this year, lean season, for example, saying June to August, when the farmers are planting, harvest is reduced. We are going now to about 33.1 million Nigerians that will be going through acute hunger. We went from about 18 to 25 last year. So the numbers...
And we're having new policies every day.
And we're having new policies.
So
those policies are meant to reduce import of agri products. They are meant to reduce the poverty. Instead of those poverty index going down, they are going up. So when we say we are declaring state of emergency on food, I'm not seeing that body language following up with the action.
I think at this point we just declare fasting and prayer.
Fasting and prayer won't do it. We know what to do, so let's do what we need to do. Because, for example...
this Nigeria is not the only country where you have politicians, controlling some of these things. In America, for instance, sometimes you can even see some of those Republicans talk against Trump when they see he's going to an extreme.
But if you do that in Nigeria, you are out. That's the day they'll remember your file or something.
Yeah, you've not been paying tax.
That you've not been paying tax, or your plate number is expired. Something will just come up. So everybody would rather observe table manners and keep quiet. But I think that's one thing that, even at times when you speak as an individual of your pain.
I've had some individuals who say they can't come on this program because when they talk against the government agency and
You
all,
are scared of what will happen to you.
their businesses are threatened.
Yes, you are
And
scared.
it's sad in a democracy, actually.
No, that's the truth. You know, the more you speak about some of these things, just as a Nigerian, the more you are seen as attacking those in power, which shouldn't be. Constructive criticism should be welcome. Just saying, for example, like we said this morning, there are tractors. They are already in the country. Where are they? They should be on the farm. They should not be in one warehouse by now. They should be on different farms. I've also witnessed in one state, one day I was in this secretariat, they acquired 20 bulldozers for clearing and all that. I think they did some clearing for some processors. After some time, all those bulldozers landed in the governor's farm. But
how big is the governor's farm to provide for the people?
For the people. So instead of you spreading the effects, reducing costs, and like we still say in Nigeria, bulk of what we eat, consume, come from 80% of smallholder farmers. We leverage more on aggregation in Nigeria. Not that we don't have so many commercial farms where you see 1,000 hectares, 2,000 hectares. No, in Nigeria, once you have 5 hectares, you're even, regarded as a small, medium-scale farmer, no longer smallholder. So we don't have so many farms having 2,000 hectares, 3,000 hectares. So we rely largely on aggregation. Even the processors, they rely largely on aggregation. So that's why we have to pay attention to those smallholder farmers. We have to look at, in some states now, if you can provide these bulldozers, for example, clear the land for them. To lease an hectare, a bulldozer now, for 1 hectare to clear, you'll be paying average of 800,000 naira. That's 2.5 acres. So imagine somebody wants to clear 5 hectares, which is just about 12.5 acres. You'll be talking of how many? 800 times 5, that's about 4 million. How many of our smallholder farmers can provide that? So the government really needs, the same way they are subsidizing this coal, subsidizing different things. And the funny thing, we are subsidizing pilgrimage as a nation. That part I don't understand. I want to go and pray.
I'm the one who wants
to go and pray.
Exactly, wants to take a religious journey. And then the government
a voluntary
has to pay.
Religious decision that I made in my room.
The government has to pay for it. And the
government is paying me to go for it. So I'm wondering, in some states you see government paying for people to do wedding. Some of these things
Can this be level of enlightenment in a society?
No, those things provide loopholes to steal. That's just the basic things.
Yeah, but people are encouraging it. People put the laws and the rules.
If the government are not saying we will pay for you, then everybody should pray. We are a religious nation, like they say, but we don't see the effect. So we should start channeling our resources in the area. Because like I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday morning. Some of us pay people, some of our domestic staff, 80,000, 70,000. You wish you could pay more. But the truth of the matter is you can't afford to pay more. And you ask yourself, how do these people really live with what I'm paying them? But you also cannot afford to pay them that much that can really take care of all their needs.
All their needs.
So we need to look at somebody earning minimum wage of 70,000. How would this person feed? Until we crash this idea of people spending 70% of their income on food, it's not something we should be happy about. It's not something that we should. It's not
but
that.
that has even been reduced now with the new data parameter.
No, we know that's not the real.
For measuring inflation.
We know that's not the
has
real.
Been reduced.
We know that's not the real impact. Those are. I'm not an economist, so I'm not going to go into that. But we know the real thing is that when you give somebody 70,000 as minimum wage, how much is he going to buy? Maybe a pint of rice, a pint of beans, with an average of maybe 3-4 children. 6 families, because they really...
70,000.
How can?
Please, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the issue of adding value.
Okay.
The processing and the value chain of our food crops.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to that side of the conversation right here on Business Morning. Please stay with us. Business Morning right here on Channels Television, and we're talking about food security in Nigeria and some of those not so loud issues that seem to be deterring Nigeria meeting up with the target in spite of great sounding policies and in spite of state of emergency being declared. I think twice now we've had that. But I wonder what that means now, state of emergency. But let's talk about the issue of processing.
Yeah.
So we know that infrastructure is a challenge in Nigeria. That's no longer news.
Yeah.
So there's been conversation as in, why can't the industry go to the farm? For instance, if you go to Southern Kaduna, at least I've been there, and I saw ginger is, you know, it's just
Everywhere.
some people don't plant it, you just go there and uproot
everywhere.
it. Why can't industries move closer to the farms so that from the farm to processing and maybe to export or to the gate? What's stopping that?
No, some factories are doing that already, establishing close to the area of
The
production.
source of raw
Some are doing that,
materials.
while some will still have to evacuate for safety, for infrastructure, for control to areas where they feel more secure to operate.
No,
You
the issue of
understand?
insecurity comes in.
So somebody, like you mentioned, Southern Kaduna, for example, somebody wants to establish a factory there. We also still look at the issue around, we still have some cultural issues. We can't shy away from that in Nigeria, where you want to go and establish, maybe as somebody from the south, you want to establish a factory. I have a friend who had to close his factory in Gombe. A friend in Lagos closed his factory in Gombe. So you still have some of those cultural issues, at times, not too strong though, affecting people or discouraging people from establishing factories in certain locations. So what we still need to do to help our, processing should be the ease of logistics. How can we move products from where they are being produced? Because, like we said, infrastructure and other things. So people probably prefer to operate in some location. And some also want to be close to the terminals for export. So they want to operate maybe probably in Lagos or anywhere in the southwest. So that once they are done processing, they want to export, which is also good for us. The more we also export as a nation, the better for us. So those are some things that I think is affecting our processing. Of course, we can't shy away from the funding part also for some of them. And some of them, even as of today, one thing we keep going back to is production. There are also factories who are shutting down, even though they are close to to the raw material, but they are not getting enough raw material. So you see some of them, probably you need, let me pick a product like cassava, for example. Somebody needs 100 ton daily to operate, and they're not getting that 100 ton. And you still have to pay people at the end of the month. You still
Run
have
your
to
operations,
run
power,
your
and all of
power
that.
and all that, and you are just probably operating once or twice a week. And the price of the commodity you're even getting is probably above your own budget. So you see some people that they will probably shut down during such period and probably wait. And all those things will be affecting our output. If a factory that should run for maybe 300 days in a year, probably is running for 100 days. Like I drove past one on Wednesday and I felt bad. A very big and massive poultry also. And I called the owner, a Chinese man though. I called him some months back that what's going on? This thing personally I don't want this thing to shut down. Even though it's been shut down. But he said funding and all that and all that. I said, what can we do? And we got talking, but they've not been able to come up. So funding is one
So
thing.
Bank of Agriculture would have come in such a situation.
Probably, I told him that we should probably, but I'm not sure Bank of Agriculture because their recapitalization, like as at this morning, has not been completed. So I'm not sure they have the structure they run currently with Bank of Agric might not be able to help them. But I will probably push him more and let's see if I can get something for him. So we still need to look out for our processors as well. So that's the point. And the anchor borrower also wanted to resolve some of this issue. It was a very good policy. But like we said earlier on, policy is good, how we execute them. Because the anchor borrower was meant to resolve the issue of the raw materials. So if we have enough raw materials, then they can go to the factories. That scheme is actually one of the best schemes that came out of Nigeria. We just didn't get it right. if the raw materials were coming, the farmers were expected to be in business for a longer period because the issue of market would have been taken care of. Then they will also be selling at a very good value because it will be like something like a commodity market arrangement.
Yeah, the connection, the
The
chain
connection.
is
So it would have been like I do for some commodity. I tell my processors this is how much it's costing me to produce. We have an understanding that at harvest, this is the minimum you can pay me. But you know, because of some other factors, you see somebody, when it favors some processors, they go by. When it doesn't, they say, come to the table, and at the end of the day, but you can still find a middle ground to say, we should have a link. It has to be a link. The producers, the processors has to still work together. And you still sometimes too, I have some of my processors that when you tell them, okay, you've not paid, you promise, they'll say, these people that I also supplied will pay me in 45 days. So you have to also wait. So if you have to, and I tell people at times, we take also at times, because of the agreement we have with some processors, we take from smallholder farmers, we aggregate, supply them. And you know, some of these smallholder farmers, by the time you are telling them, you have to wait for 7 days, you have to wait, some of them are already agitated. So you have to look for fund at times, you pay them, while you'll have to wait for 1 month at times, 2 months at times before you get paid. So if I have to wait like that, it will affect my cash flow and operation. So processing is good. And I think one thing we are also doing in Nigeria now that we can also start scaling up is mini processing. We don't have to all go and acquire a very massive warehouse. Processing is not until you acquire the whole of China's TV, for example. You can always start with a small space. Then we'll have to look at some regulators also discouraging processing. For example, somebody wants to get a NAFDAC registration, it's taking them ages.
NAFDAC said they've changed. I met with a NAFDAC official recently at an event, and he told me everything is smooth now. It's online.
I'm not sure the online is really online as of today because they still have to come to the factory to do some sampling, which is good.
Yeah.
But I'm sure people still do 2 years at times before they get
a license.
Because of my own space of where I operate, I engage people. From here, I'm going for another event. So I engage every time. So people still have that bottleneck, discouraging them. Now you want to export some products, you have to put NAFDAC, and you are trying to apply. So a lot of people also get discouraged from that processing value chain because of that. So we need to look at the regulators. How efficient are they? What are they interested in? Is it the product
or the money? All right, Mr. Banjoko, as you said, we'll keep talking about it.
Keep talking about
it. We will not be discouraged and frustrated.
We won't.
This is our Nigeria.
We'll keep talking.
Managing Director of Banjoko Farms Limited, also the Chairman, Agri Group of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Tunde Banjoko. Thank you so much for your insights.
Thank you for having me.